The following video may contain graphic or disturbing content that is not suitable for all audiences. The events discussed are presented for educational and analytical purposes only. All individuals shown are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah, episode 4. We're rocking and rolling. You can see we've got the cool logo up there. We did that last episode as well. I'm still working on getting LED lights. I've actually done a ton of stuff in here. I'm in my little kind of studio slash office, whatever you want to call it. That's where I do my podcast stuff. I've got some soundproofing stuff on the walls. I've got a thing behind the camera that you can't see, soundproofing that's kind of hopefully reducing the echoes that we had in kind of earlier videos. I've got lights, I've got the arm with the mic, and I got a camera, a very good Nikon camera that's up there doing all the video recording, and it hooks up to HDMI, hooks up to this, that, and all these different things. So it's a lot going on here, and I'm trying to improve it every day. I'm trying to get the sounds, the kind of things going on within the episodes, within the clips, all that stuff. I'm trying to get that better every single time, and so hopefully it's improving. Is kind of where I'm going with this. Hopefully every episode is better than the last one. Hopefully every clip is better than the previous one, and I hope you're catching all that stuff on social media. So we've got Twitter, or X. I hate it. I hate that new name. Facebook is where a lot of good content's going to be. A lot of your best content's going to be there. I'm on Threads. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Truth Social. I'm on Instagram. I'm on everything. TikTok. So this podcast, this channel, this everything goes out all over the place. And so we do these episodes once a week. We've talked about this before, where I break down military, law enforcement, security content based on my past experiences in all of those three. And so I continue these days working in the security field. I do a lot of executive protection, stuff like that, suits and ties and, plain clothes and things like that. I do a lot of that, but I've also occasionally done some uniform stuff. And so I do have the broad experience of many, many years of many different things. And I apply that knowledge along with my knowledge of the law and how things work to the videos so that you understand where things are coming from. Now we break down a daily video or a topic. We discuss a topic or something goes out every single day. So you can catch all that content all the time. And then the episodes air on Fridays. Again, Friday morning quarterback. The concept being that I get to watch all this stuff kind of with the 2020 hindsight, and I get to say, well, that looks a little weird, or this, whatever, why wasn't it done this way or that, or, hey, if it was me, I would have done this, kind of that kind of stuff I get to do with that 2020 hindsight. I am almost never going to criticize law enforcement officers, security, military, whatever, on the moment decision that they make. And so the first topic we're going to hit up here in just a second, we're going to do a little recap of the previous episode, but the first topic we're going to hit up is exactly that. It is exactly a split second, literally second decision that is all over the place now, and everybody's losing their minds about it. But let's talk about last episode. So last episode we did, I've got monitors all over the place, so I'm looking at different things. So you see my head go around. We talked about the Akala police chase. That was the one with the rifle. So the guy gets out, runs with the rifle, and the officer's chasing behind him, and then ends up tasing him kind of towards the end there. And so that was a cool little video to watch. We discussed different things with the pursuit, with the vehicle when it flipped and rolled over, how you approached the vehicle. If you approached the vehicle, it wasn't on the video, but we were lacking context, I think. And then we talked about this guy's running armed. Is he a threat? Things like that. Going back to previous episode before that, was that Ace Cash shooting where he shot the guy in the back, and is it legal and moral, ethical, and all those things to be able to shoot someone in the back. And so we talked about that again. We did the Snohomish chase, and then that was the shooting at the officer. They were shooting at the officer during the chase. That was pretty crazy. We talked about shooting, through windshields. We talked about pitting the vehicle. We talked about, when do you need cover? When should you wait? Things like that. You have to minimize the risk to the public, obviously. So you've got, I can pit this car. I can throw it into a tree and wrap it around a pole or whatever, but I don't have anybody with me. And so what happens when I do that is two guys jump out, and there were two guys in that car. And does that, am I able to engage two people at the same time, verbally or physically? If they both rush me and I have to fist fight both of them, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be at risk? Do I wait for more officers? Are they such a danger on the road that I have to immediately take them down? And so all that comes into play. And then we also did the Bismarck officer that was hit by the van. Kind of the lady in the van goes up the snowbank, hits the officer, and the officer goes flying through the air, hits the fence. It was a mental health kind of call, and it went sideways, obviously. It started to go mental health, and then it went to maybe this person's on drugs or alcohol or something like that. And then she did not want to get out of the car. And so we broke that down. That was crazy. I mean, everything we do on this podcast and channel is crazy. All the content is wild. And I say it all the time. I'm like, oh, this video is wild. Oh, this is wild. This is wild. They're all wild. Okay. If they weren't wild, I probably wouldn't be showing you. So we're going to break down 3 videos, 3 incidents. The first one I didn't want to do. I saw it happen, and I have a lot to say about it. I saw it happen, but then it was like immediately everybody was covering it. Everybody was doing it. Everybody was breaking it down. The different angles came out literally like the same day and next day. There was no like question of things really. And so I didn't want to do this. And I had somebody reach out to me, and they said, "Hey, are you going to break down this incident?" And I was like, I don't think so, but I probably should. And so I said, yeah, I guess I will at some point. No point like the present. So we're going to break down this video. This is the Minneapolis shooting, number 2, that involves the Alex Preddy getting shot by Border Patrol. Now, there's a lot to think about and consider and look at when you view this incident. And we're going to talk about some of those things. We're going to show 3 different angles. So we're going to show a before video showing some interactions he had with law enforcement. We're going to show the front view or sidewalk view of the person recording with their phone. And then we're going to show a side view of someone recording from a restaurant or bar or whatever it was. It's inside a loud kind of business. Now, guys, I'm going to preface everything. We always preface everything with viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to preface this videos with, hey, it's 2026. Okay. Can you stop recording video like this? Can we turn our damn phones like this and record video? Because when you turn the phone, we get the landscape view. Okay. All these videos I see of all these people getting, into, recording law enforcement and all these incidents that occurred. Everybody's got the damn portrait phone. Turn that thing to the side so we get a good view and a wide angle view of everything that's going on. It drives me nuts, and it drives me nuts from a technical standpoint too, because then I got to go and like switch my sizing of my videos so that it's friendly for social media, but then it's not. And then like this, I'm going to have social media content inside a video. So it's like this big. And then I'm releasing this as a big video, landscape size video. It's 2026. Turn your freaking phones to the side and start recording the right way. Anyway, I digress. So what you're going to see here is the Alex Preddy. He already contacted. This is a loud ass video. The Alex Preddy's already contacted law enforcement and been in contact with him. The story kind of went out originally of just random guy randomly attacked, randomly killed. Nothing was random here at all. Okay. The only thing random is this airbag on. That's kind of funny. But there's no randomness. He was inserting himself into this situation. Now, you have ICE, you have Border Patrol, you have all these guys that are doing some sort of operation. All these people show up, they're honking horns, they're blowing whistles, they're doing all these different things to disrupt, okay? Agitate and disrupt, okay? Now, here's the thing. I've talked about lawful, legal, and peaceful protesting before. I highly encourage people to do it. I fully support it. It is a real thing, and I want you to keep doing it. I don't support disruption and interference. Okay. So you have a guy who I just found out actually this morning before I started doing the recording is that he's had previous physical interactions with law enforcement as well during these kind of protests. And I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying that that's just what's come out. But he's got a history of this, and he goes to a new incident. He goes to another disruption wearing a firearm on him. Okay. Now here's I'm never going to tell. I'm very 2A. I'm very pro 2A, I should say. I firmly believe that everybody who can legally carry should carry. Okay. I carry all the time. I've got my firearm. You can't tell, but it's next to me over here. I go to the store. I carry my firearm. I go to the mailbox. I carry my firearm. I go out. I carry my firearm. Everywhere I go, my firearm's on me. Okay. I fully support that. Go to these incidents. Carry your firearm if you want to. That's fine. But don't then interrupt, interfere, disrupt, whatever you want to call the word, and get yourself into a situation where you are now possibly perceived as a threat, because then bad stuff happens. And so we're going to go ahead and show the front view. There we go. So you've already got Preddy. He has interfered, so to speak. Now he went out into the road. He was like trying to direct traffic. Like, dude, that's not your job. Get the hell out of the street. You have no business being there. The law enforcement can handle traffic. Okay. I see this in a lot of these videos. These people are like, come on, cars, go. No, get the hell out of the road. You're not in any sort of position to be directing traffic. So he's already gotten into traffic. Then he witnesses a female get pushed out of the road. Again, stay the hell out of the road. Gets pushed out of the road. He goes to grab her, like kind of defend her. He kind of wraps his arm around her, and they get pushed again to try to get them off the road. And then pepper sprays. He gets pepper sprayed. She gets pepper sprayed, or OC sprayed. And then they end up deciding we're going to take this guy down. Now, here's the thing. Again, legal, lawful protesting, peaceful protesting, 100% on board. You stand on the sidewalk with your sign and you hold your sign and you say, hell no, we won't go. Cool. Okay. You go and you start throwing things, getting into traffic. You start, I even consider the blowing of the whistles and all that BS disruption and illegal to the point because it's a noise ordinance. I'm sure they have one. So now you're disrupting everybody's peace, right? And so I don't agree with that either. But let's say we're mild about it, nothing happens. But when you insert yourself, bad things happen. Okay. So now they've taken them down. They're trying to effect an arrest. Okay. Right here, they've decided. They've got him down. He is actively resisting. Any normal person, when law enforcement comes up to them and grabs you and takes you to the ground, you're going to go, whoa, throw your arms out. Okay. Lay down and say, oh, I give up. The people that want to fight and disrupt and resist and, all this resist movement, this is what happens is people get hurt. Okay. You need to stop this nonsense. And I've done a video previously on obey or die. Again, it's not obey or die. It's cooperate or accept responsibility for your action, right? And so that's what happens here is he's actively resisting. If he didn't resist, if he would have just laid down, let's say unarmed, he just lays down and he just gave up, said, yep, okay, here's my hands, take them, whatever. nothing would have happened to him. If he would have gone down on the ground with his firearm on him and gave up, probably, most likely, nothing would have happened. But because he's fighting and resisting and he's, not cooperating, they then become aware that there's a firearm. I'm not entirely sure how, but they're fighting and the shirt comes up, the jacket comes up, and that's how they saw it or something. But it's not very clear from any of the videos how they identified that firearm's there. But let's go ahead and continue. Now, this guy with the gray jacket is the one that's going to take the firearm. He's going to retrieve the firearm off of Alex Brady. We're going to see that from a different angle. That's a little bit better. All right. All right. So, craziness. All right. Again, cooperation is huge. Not going to a protest that you plan to interfere, disrupt, to commit illegal acts, probably not a good idea to be armed. Okay. And that's firearm, baseball bat, spikes, like ninja stars, like whatever. It's probably a good idea to not go to any sort of protest where you intend or there is a good possibility you're going to become physically active in, that you do it armed. Okay. I don't support that. And again, full 2A, legal, lawful carrying, all that stuff, 100% on board. Okay. Not on board with stirring up shit while you do have your firearm on you. Okay. So we had that. Now we're going to show the side view, and the side view is going to show the firearm being retrieved. This is very important. Okay. And it's very important that you notice the time between the firearm retrieved and the time of the shots. And I'm going to pause and rewind a little bit. So there's Gray Jacket digging into his kind of right side. All right. He's got the firearm in his hand.
What the fuck?
All right, let's rewind. Okay. So watch as Gray Jacket. So this is going to be the guy kind of like right there. Okay. He's going to go ahead and retrieve the firearm from Alex Preddy somewhere on the right kind of rear side. Now, keep in mind, from the front view, you can see Alex Preddy has a phone in his hand, a black phone in his right hand. Okay. At some point, and I've seen another angle that's kind of like in the middle of the road, and I couldn't find it since I saw it, but you can clearly hear the agents, the Border Patrol, go, gun, gun, gun. Okay. And I don't know who says it. I don't know if it's one of the guys on top of him. I don't know if it's one of the guys standing. I don't know if it's the guy that retrieves the gun. I don't know who says that, but somebody says gun, gun, gun. Okay. In law enforcement training, gun, gun, gun means shoot the target. Okay. When you go to the range and the targets are downrange, maybe they're turned, maybe they're not. The the firearms instructor is going to go gun, and everybody's going to shoot at that point. You're going to fire 2 rounds, center mass, 1 round to the head, whatever the shooting is. You're going to do it, and then they're going to reset. And then you're going to say gun, and then you're going to do it again. Law enforcement is trained to respond to gun, and we're going to talk about that in another video here later on, where someone is yelling gun, 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 and no one shoots, which is pretty wild. Most of the time, I think you're going to get a reaction when somebody says gun that most officers are going to want to shoot. Okay, so he's digging around. Right there in his right hand, he has the firearm. Okay. You can see it right there through the windshield of the car. So right there, whoop, my finger disappeared. There it is right there. Okay. The firearm is in his hand right there. Okay. Clear as day. And then they show from the other angle, they show it kind of not zoomed in, but a little closer. You can see kind of the color of the gun, how it looks. It even has a red dot on it. The gun is later photographed with a top-down view, exactly the same. So there's no question the gun came away from Alex Preddy. But now we're going to go back and look the time frame. Okay. Now I think your first person to shoot is going to be kind of one of these in the middle. From another angle, you can kind of see the action, the slide of the gun go on that first shot. So I think that first shot might be him. But here's the thing: watch how fast gun is removed and shots are sent out. Resisting. Gun is away. Boom. Gun is away. Boom. Okay. That is how fast someone said gun. The gun came off of him and they shot him. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, it means a few things. Okay. Legal. We talk about, are you legally allowed to, morally, ethically, all those things to shoot somebody? Using the law, the state laws, the federal laws, in this case applies to them too, policies, procedures, all those things that have to do with, the agency you work for, security company that you work for, whatever it is. Are you lawfully, legally allowed to shoot somebody in X situation, and whatever the situation is? And we break down a lot here. So if someone is actively resisting, actively fighting, resisting arrest, and they are armed, that makes them a threat. Okay. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are a lethal threat in the sense that we need to utilize deadly force at that point. Just because a gun is in a waistband, just because the gun is in an ankle holster, just because it's in a, the back holster, side holster, whatever it is, doesn't necessarily mean that they are a threat. And I was in a situation where a guy came out with a shotgun and he's holding it like this. And is he a threat? Absolutely. Was he a threat that I needed to shoot? No. And the reason for that is the gun's like this. The barrel is pointing away from me. It's up, right? He has to go forward to shoot at a very awkward angle because his hands were high. It's not going to be in his shoulder. So I've got a second to respond, right? And I saw that, recognized I don't necessarily need to shoot this guy. And then I saw people in the background kind of moving around in the house. And I thought, if I shoot this guy, I may overpenetrate and hit these people behind. And so I just kept yelling at him, drop the gun. He froze. He instantly froze. And I kept yelling at him. Another officer shot at him. And the round went past, missed him, went through the house. And then we were able to take him into custody. And it was just a whole thing. And so the point I'm trying to make is just because the presence of the weapon is there doesn't necessarily mean that they're a threat. Now, in the case of Preddy, is he a threat? Yes, he is a threat. He's actively fighting, actively resisting. He is definitely not cooperating. He definitely is armed. You have a lot going on here. Okay. The screaming, the yelling, commands are probably hard to hear. I'm probably hard to hear. You got, what the fuck is wrong with you? You got all these yapping, freaking flopping heads that are bobbleheads that are all making noise, honking horns, blowing whistles, all these different things. The agents probably could be saying, stop resisting, get on the ground, do this, do that. He may not hear any of it because of this stupid nonsense that's going on. But he goes to a point, and it's going to be hard to see in this video because this video is not great quality. And I've heard everything from he tried to grab the officer's gun to all these different things. Let's see. Yeah, you can't really see it, but in his right hand is the phone. Okay. So now someone's yelled gun. There is a physical gun on him, confirmed. So they are aware he has a gun. The shooters are the two kind of on his left. And they had one of them, at least when I watched the videos kind of over and over and over again, came from behind him. So they're unaware of where gun is. Now, can an officer shoot someone if there's a threat of a gun that they can't see? Yes. Technically, yes. Is it going to be legally allowed? Probably yes. Is it going to be scrutinized and policy driven and the court of public opinion going to lose their minds over it? Absolutely. Okay. They're going to be like, you couldn't see the threat, And here's the thing is like, I can take a gun and go like this and shoot you behind me. And just because you can't see the gun, just that barrel is pointing over my shoulder, doesn't make me less of a threat. Okay. It's just perception and how you understand what you're dealing with. And in this case, they said he had a gun, he is a threat. He does have a black object. And I will tell you, a black object in a hand could look like a gun in certain circumstances. So, am I defending these guys and what they did? No. I'm just putting into perspective the fact that he could have been perceived as a threat, therefore was shot as a result. What would have avoided this? Not having the firearm at a protest you plan to disrupt, or cooperating with law enforcement and not fighting and resisting and everything else. That would have 100% saved his life. Okay. So, were they good in shooting him? I have to look at everything. Okay. I looked at the different views. I looked at the kind of legalities of the thing. I've looked at everything, opinions, breakdowns. I watched all these things. Here's the thing, from a legal standpoint, is it reasonable that someone you're fighting has a gun, is confirmed to have a gun by the agents there, and is shot? Is that reasonable? Yes. Does it look awful that he was unarmed when he was shot? Absolutely. Does it make them liable? Possibly. And here's the thing, if they can confirm I shot him after that gun was taken off of him, I was aware that he did not have the gun, 100% you're going to prison. 100%. Okay. But what you have to understand is there is a tiny focus of things going on. This agent shooting is focusing on this little box. The other agent's focusing on that little box. The big guy with the jacket isn't looking at a broader situation because he's not really involved. He grabs the gun and then he runs away. He's like not part of it. I would venture to guess he probably did not say, I've got the gun, I've got the gun, I've got the gun. I would have said something. Hey guys, I'm in control of the gun. He is unarmed now. I have the gun. I have the gun. Doesn't mean he doesn't have other guns. No. I mean, he might have more weapons or whatever, but to be able to say, hey, I've got possession of the perceived threat, may have avoided this shooting as well. I don't know that he said anything. We don't know. He may have said something and they still shot him. Then now they're even liable criminally. Everybody's probably civilly liable. I think you're looking at a situation that the Border Patrol, the federal government, everybody's going to be paying a pretty penny. That's a bad way to put that. No pun intended. They're going to be paying a lot of money out for this person being shot by agents when he did not have the gun on him. And I think, you can say it's good shoot, bad shoot all day long. It just depends on how you look at it. I think they're going to be legally authorized or legally okay in having shot him. I think from a standpoint of somebody going to prison, it is not likely to happen. I think possibly criminally, depending on statements made after the fact and in the investigation, things like that. I think civilly, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, a lot of trouble. And I would not want to be in that situation where we collectively, all the agents, all the people together, disarm someone and then shoot them. I think that is bad news bears, and that is going to lead to a lot of problems. So I'm calling this as not great. Not great by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm also saying that depending on how things transpired that we're not able to see the context, this really could be a lawful, in terms of legal standpoint, shoot. I just think it was an overall bad situation, a bad shoot, because of the fact that he was unarmed at the time of the shooting. Now, nothing says I shoot you, I shoot the officer, boom, boom, and then I drop the gun, and then that officer thinks, perceives threat, goes through the 1.5 second, 2 second thing, and then shoots me, are they legally authorized? All that stuff. Is everything okay with that shoot? Possibly. And you have to take into account how fast. We showed how fast that was. Gun comes off of him. Guy turns, takes like one step barely, and the shots go out. That's fast. That's a fast reaction to an armed person. We watched that video and we broke it down of the Walmart. I think it was Walmart shooting. And it was the guy that with the lady sitting on the bench. He pulls a gun. He goes to shoot the officer. The guy disarms him. And as he disarms him, the officer went to shoot. He was going to shoot him. Get out of the way. He was going to shoot him. And what happened was the guy dropped the gun and then he like jumped on him and tackled him. And he recognized the fact that this guy is not a threat and put the gun away. And so he was able to go through that whole like OODA loop of what's going on and reorientate himself to the situation and kind of see what he's dealing with and then act appropriately and all that stuff because he had a wider view of what's happening. And these guys have such a small view. They're on him. They're focusing on one hand. They're focusing on an arm. They can't see the other arm. They can't see the other hand. They don't know where this gun is. They see a black thing in his hand. You know, we get a lot of shootings, not a lot, but a fair amount of people shot holding things, holding phones, holding a bottle, you know, holding something. And in the dark or whatever the situation is, it's hard to tell what it is. And they think it's a threat. And in this case, that might be what it was. And legally, they might be okay in that regard. But factoring all the other things, the fact that he was fighting and resisting and all that stuff. If he had laid down, arms out to his sides, and they find a gun on him, they say he's got a gun and they just shot him as they took the gun off of him, they're all criminally charged, all of them. There's no way you can get away from that. He fought, and that was the biggest downside was taking a firearm to that. But that was his biggest downside. That was his kind of ultimate failure, was resisting. And he shouldn't have done that. But that's what we're dealing with these situations. All right, we're going to roll into our topic 2. This is, I don't call it great. I think the outcome is amazing. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But I don't necessarily like how this went down. And we're going to talk about that. We've done some felony stop videos before. There's one, an absolute textbook felony stop. We talked about that. That was great. This was a little hinky. So this comes out of Fulton County. They're chasing these suspects. First pit doesn't work. That happens all the time. Second pit.
Send it, Jazz. I got it. Send it. Second pit. Stand by. Box in.
Just because it's pit doesn't mean it stops. Okay. So it says suspect begins to throw firearms out of the vehicle. Okay. That's going to come into play here in a second.
They're throwing guns out. There
goes one, two, maybe three.
Watch up, Jazz.
All right. So we got a few things going on right here. Okay. We've pit them once. We pit them twice. It's failed. They kind of pull over on their own, which is pretty wild because they think, well, we threw the guns out. We're safe now. So they pull over, which is kind of a surprise to everybody. Like, we're not expecting this to go down. And then so you have, as a result, you got this car way close and you got the other car over there way closer and kind of in front of suspect vehicle. You have a vehicle downrange up there, also in front of the suspect vehicle. This is not the greatest positioning of felony stops I've ever seen. Now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to stop the vehicle, trying to box in, trying to disable it. If they just pull over, maybe we just kind of let it play out as they just pull over and we kind of slow down and do things a little different. But they're going to get very aggressive. And I always say on this podcast and channel, I want law enforcement to be aggressive. Wrap them around a pole, knock them, crash them out, stop them quick, get on them. But once you're in a position to effect an arrest, once you're in a position to kind of order people out and do all that stuff, we need to slow down. Okay. And so we're going to see some high speed stuff. Yeah. Get your fucking hands up.
DSP got the dog.
Come on now with your hands up.
All right. You've got officer here using the vehicle as cover. Amazing. You've got officer over here. There's two. There's one close, not really great use of cover. I don't see the door being utilized, the vehicle being utilized. You have suspects in, there's 5 in here. You got suspects in the vehicles that can see through the windshield, and you can't see. I can't see through that car door. And then you got other officer way over there who is out in the open. Now, what you don't see is over here, there's an officer out in the open too, just kind of standing in front of the vehicle.
Okay, don't reach for anything. Keep hands up.
See his arm.
Okay. Come on.
All right. Let's go a little bit further. There we go. So you have this guy not really utilizing cover. Okay. You've got this guy with a taser, which is pretty wild. I don't know that I would have a taser in that position. You've got this other cop behind him that does not seem very kind of worried about the situation. Now, you notice when the car first stops, the passenger door flung open like they're going to run. I would have my gun out and I'd be looking at that passenger door because I don't want anybody running out. I would use that vehicle as cover that was back behind the suspect, the camera vehicle that started this whole thing. You also have these other officers over here at the front, lollygagging or whatever. I'm not really sure. But look at the crossfire. Look at the crossfire you've got with this officer here through suspect into officer who's over there. I don't like that. I'm just, this is a rough video for me to watch.
Outside. Keep coming up. Turn around.
He's got a gun, guys. Got a gun in his waistband. That could have turned into a cluster of officers all shooting. All officers just shooting into a circle and hitting each other, okay? He's got a gun on him. And where do we put handcuffs on him? Right next to the vehicle, okay? Right next to the suspect vehicle. 5 suspects that have thrown guns out of the cars, may have more guns, and they're detaining him in front. And we talked about the kind of appropriate textbook, let's call them out to us, get them between the vehicles, get them on the knees, get their hands up, all that stuff, take them into custody there, transition commands from one officer to another, make sure that, hey, you're now the arrest officer. I am the lethal cover. You're the less lethal. Here, you take over, blah, blah. Here we have, it's so hard to watch this.
I can't see anybody else.
So they get 5 suspects out of the car, okay?
We got a team effort. We got Fulton County NGSB out here. We're good. We're getting all secure.
They're going to get 5 guns out of the car. It says, in total, 5 firearms recovered. 1 was recovered stolen. That's only 4, right? We can count. But apparently there was another one. So this is a rough video, man. I see some stuff in policing and I'm like, this is one of these things that, and I don't know what fast means. So I probably should have looked that up because I did see it on the car when I was reviewing the video and kind of going over it and going over the points I wanted to make. There are some high speed, low drag teams out there that, gang units and different things that do some pretty wild tactics and stuff that your average patrol doesn't. Your average patrol is going to pull somebody over, do a felony stop, do it appropriately. And sometimes you get some of these specialized units that just smash windows and drag people out and, get really aggressive. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast. And that's how that unit is supposed to operate. But when I saw this, man, the level of like professional cringe in my brain, it hurt. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Oop, right there. He's up on the driver door. Okay. Up on the driver door. I'm guessing that other one's the female, ends up at the front that we see from the body cam. But this is rough, guys. This is crossfire situations. This is tactically unsound. I hate to beat up, and I'm not going to beat them up in the sense that they were wrong. Okay. This may be right. This may be how they train. This may be how their department operates. I'm just saying from my point of view, from my experience and everything else, there are other ways to do this. And I wouldn't, in my wildest nightmare dream, would I ever do something like this? I would never do this. I've been in some hinky kind of takedowns of vehicles and hinky kind of felony stops where we were like right up on top of cars and things like that. And I still didn't do any of the stuff that we're seeing in here.
Put your hands up. What?
Not wrong, just
Okay.
not
Don't
right
reach
for
for
me.
anything. Keep your hands up. Okay.
I'm kind of, I laughed the first couple times I watched this is you hear a taser go off and I'm like, what taser was that? Is that this guy with the taser out? Does he not have a cartridge? Is he going to dry stun somebody? Like who shot a taser off? I don't see the probes, the wires sticking out of it. So he didn't accidentally shoot, but, I thought that was funny. You can hear that. We're gonna talk about accidental tasers here in the next video. But
Come on. Come on.
I need y'all to go to that.
Going on this left side.
man, this is just a rough video to
Keep
watch.
coming up.
Great outcome. And generally speaking, in law enforcement, the outcome kind of dictates everything else. It may have looked crazy, it may have looked sloppy, it might have looked scary, it might have looked dangerous, whatever else, but the outcome dictates. And in the end, they get 5 arrests, 5 guns, maybe a stolen car. I don't know whose car this is, but you get all these things. Great. But getting there, was it great? I'm not really sure. And so I still, look at that gun. Look at all the crossfire. You got this guy aiming at that guy. You got that guy with the taser going this way. You got a guy in the back that you can't see anymore over there. He could be aiming this way. You've got body camera person that we're viewing from. She's aiming that way. It's just, we should do this differently. I, in my opinion, I would definitely have done this significantly different. And then now this gun's out of the fight. Look at this gun. This gun is down, out of the fight. We still have people in the car. We still have 4 more people in that car. What if they start shooting through the window? This could have ended very badly for Atlanta there and Fulton County and all these different guys. There's probably multiple agencies, but this could have been bad.
Grab that gun on the left side.
Just why hook them up on the hood?
I can't see anybody else.
I can't see anybody else in the car. I know. So treat it like a felony stop, guys. Hey, get on the PA. Hey, step out of the vehicle, passenger, front passenger, walk back towards me. Keep your hands up, face away from me. Walk backwards, Take 2 steps to the left. Take 1 step back. Get down on your knee. This is the time to slow down. The car's not going anywhere. They pulled over on their own. It may go somewhere. You didn't disable it, but slow it down. Let's not do all this. Anyway, pretty wild video. We do good and bad on this podcast. We do good and bad on this channel. And sometimes things are a little wonky. I call that wonky. I'll be honest with you. I called it sloppy. And actually, when I put it into my agenda, I have a screen with my talking points and all that stuff. And I put breakdown, sloppy felony stop. I'll be honest with you. I was not a fan of that one. And so I think there's other ways to do it. I think there's better ways to do that. I'm not going to beat them up in the moment. That's what they did. That's the choice they make. That's the choice they live with or die with. If those guys that come out shooting, that's the choice they made to die. And I'm not going to beat them up over it. So, everything I say, Friday morning quarterbacking, is just other options, other things, other ways of doing things. My way of doing things, if I were in that situation, how I would handle it, things like that. That's what we do here. All right. So we're going to talk about a third breakdown. We're going to do a little bit. We've touched on it a little bit throughout the other breakdowns, just kind of bringing up some of the talking points you're about to hear. This is going to be the Salisbury Police Department. They're looking for a homicide suspect, and they released these amazing videos of all these body camera views, all these different things, and they show, officers going through the neighborhood and searching with the dog and doing all these things. And what we're focusing on is the shooting aspect of this incident. And the shooting occurs in a driveway. Suspect is in front of the vehicle. Okay. What you don't know right off the bat is he has a gun that is on the vehicle. It's on the hood of the vehicle. He's got his hands up and they're giving him commands, and we're going to see just how this goes. Now, something to also note, because it kind of comes out of nowhere, is there is a person in the driver's seat of the vehicle that they end up ordering and getting out of the way. And that comes into play later.
Towards me! Do it now! Can you please come get me? No! Towards me! Do it now! The lady's in here crying. Keep your hands up! My hands up, sir. Hands up, move! I'm not move! Do not move! I'm not! I just don't want the lady to get hurt. Hands up! Hands up now! I got less lethal. Hands up now! Hands up now! Hands up! Hands up!
All right, it's getting deep. Okay. Now, here's the thing: is when you deal with suspects in law enforcement, security, whatever it is, sometimes they foreshadow things that they're going to do or want to do. Now, in this case, the guy says, "I want you to come get me." Why? You just bring your ass over to me. I'm not sure, but I am sure why he wanted to do that. He wanted to draw the officers to him where the firearm's at. But at least, again, I don't know what he's thinking. That's just what I perceive and what I think is a possibility. So come to me, come to me. No, screw you, you bad guy, come to us. He refuses. He doesn't want to. Then he says, there's a lady in here crying. I don't want her to get hurt. Why would she get hurt? If you just come to us and surrender, there's no one going to get hurt, and you're not even going to get hurt. You're going to accept responsibility for your actions. You're going to go to prison. You're going to do all this stuff. Why do we need to worry about her getting hurt? That's an interesting point, because he is going to say some things later on as well.
It's not loaded! Yeah! Get your hands up! Come. Keep your hands up! Hands up! Ma'am, back here! Back here! Hands up now! Get your hands up now! Sir, my hands are up!
Okay. Get your hands up, get your hands up. He's like this, and then he goes like this. And then he gets his hands back. Oh, my hands are up. No, they weren't up. They were down. Okay. And you see this a lot with a lot of people. Get your hands up, get your hands up. And then they put their hands out, get your hands up. And they're like, my hands are up. No, they're not. Okay. And so we're going to see what happens next.
Towards me! Hands up! You're not listening! I am, sir! Walk towards me! Walk to me! Hands up now! My hands are up! Get your hands up! Walk! No, my hands are up!
Okay. Oof. So the news, if they had this footage, that would be all you see. That would be all you see is his hands up. He gets shot. Officers executed somebody. This is bad news. Jail all the officers, do all these things, riots in the street. Oh, my son, he was going to church. It was, he just left church, or he's going to night school to become a doctor. Like, that would all be happening right now if this was the only footage that came out. But this department is smart. Good job, guys, in releasing the other angle as well. You're going to see that.
Okay, you just come and get me. Come and get me.
So here you have Darth Vader. He's like, he's all hyped up, adrenaline rushing through him. He is approaching from the other side of the vehicle. Now you see suspect. He's got his hands up.
Come towards me. Do it now. Can you please come get me? No. Walk towards me. Do it now. The lady is in here crying. Keep your hands up.
All right. So you have one person kind of dictating commands. Get your hands up. Come to me. Come to me. Come to me. He's not listening. Somebody else jumps in. Get your hands up. Come to me. And then they start kind of all yelling at him. And that compounds things. But this guy does not intend to surrender. He's not going to surrender. He had every opportunity to. He chose not to, time and time again. And he has something else in mind, I am sure. I am sure of it. So he says the lady is in here, and he doesn't want her to get hurt, right?
Do not move. I'm not. Do not move. Do not move. I'm not.
Good drop of the firearm as the officer steps into his field of fire.
Come out of the car. I just don't want the lady to get hurt. She has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I don't want her to get hurt. Why? That's a weird thing to say. They're ordering her out of the car. They're getting her out now.
There's a gun right there. Back up from the gun.
Yeah. Remember we talked about this and Alex Purdy shooting? Gun, 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 gun. And everybody wants to shoot at the range. As soon as you hear gun, that's a threat. Gun is threat. Okay. And I don't know why, firearms instructors, I've taken some sort of firearm course since the 90s. And that's generally the word that they use for you to engage, start shooting. Gun, 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 gun. And for whatever reason, these guys don't shoot. Pretty good restraint, probably because they saw this and they don't want to shoot that because while there might be a gun close, it's not a threat. And we talked about perceived threats already.
Back up from the gun! Back up! Back up!
Back up, get away from the gun. The other guy's yelling, come to me, come to me. If he goes to him, he does have to go buy the gun. So, whatever. But if he put his hands up and you start walking forward, I 100% bet, given the restraint we've already seen, they would not shoot him.
Not loaded! Back up from the gun now! It's not loaded, sir. Step back! Okay, sir. Step back! Sir, can I call my mom, please?
All right. It's not loaded. Okay, no one knows that. We don't have x-ray vision. No one's able to see into that gun to know it's loaded. You can't see it, but the gun is on the car right there, okay? And no one cares if it's loaded. No one cares if it's real or not. Whatever you say does not matter. It does not factor into anything, okay? You are going to either be a perceived threat or not perceived threat, okay, based on your actions. And so dumbass is like, oh, it's empty. No one cares. No one cares. Stay away from it, right? He says something. He says something right after that. And he says, I want to call my mom. Who wants to call their mom? Who wants to call their wife, their girlfriend, their brother, their sister in the middle of something like this? And you can look at it two ways. One, I need to let them know that I'm headed to jail or whatever, or I need to say goodbye. Okay. And so it's very possible when he's like, you want to call my mom, I want to tell her goodbye because of what I'm about to do.
Step back from the fucking gun! Step the fuck back! Step back! My hands are up! I'm gonna take him. I am, sir! You reach for this gun, you will die!
Mm-hmm.
Here, step back!
Notice his hand comes down again. He's definitely not keeping his hands up.
My hands are up! I'll take him. Step my hands up!
Oh, did we see that? Did we see that? We're going to back up and see it again. He reaches down and picks up the gun.
Step my hands up!
Boom. Picks up the gun. What did we see on the other camera view? This, and he dies. He gets shot, right? Here, we see the hand go down and grab the firearm. His other hand's up. So it's giving that kind of look like he's still surrendering. But he picks up the gun and actually starts to point it towards the officers. And they engage him. That is a good shoot every day of the week and 36 times on Sunday. Okay? That is an amazing shoot. Now you hear at the end the little the taser going off. They fire and the officer fires the taser at the same time everybody's shooting, which does no good. I just thought that was funny. I laughed when I heard that because that's all he had. And in his mind, he may not even have thought, I have a taser out. I have my firearm out. I'm also engaging the threat. Or it could have been, they sympathetic. The officer heard the officer shooting and sympathetically pulled the trigger, which happens a lot. Sometimes you get one officer that can see a threat. The other officer can't see a threat. The threat shoots, threat seeing officer shoots, and the other officer pulls the trigger in response, sympathetic fire. And so that might've been what happened here, but that is an amazing video that shows a lot of things. You've got restraint. You've got suspect not following directions. You've got suspect doing things that are not following directions. One hand up, one hand down. Oh, but my hands are up. No, they're going down. Put them back up. You've got suspect that may be foreshadowing some violence. When you deal with the suspect, I started talking about this earlier, and you're doing your little kind of side of the road interview or whatever, you're standing next to them and they're doing this. That may be an indication that they intend to run and they're looking for an exit. Okay. And in this case, he's looking around, he's looking at everybody. He sees the lady. Hey, I want this lady out of here because she has nothing to do with it. I don't want her to get hurt. I want to call my mom because what I'm about to do might very well end my life. So I want her to know, hey, I'm sorry for whatever I did. This is a homicide suspect they're looking for. So a lot of stuff going on in that video. The amount of restraint. You got a gun sitting right in front of this guy, and the officers didn't shoot. We talked about Alex Preddy with the gun is on him. Could they have shot him? Maybe. Could they have shot this guy? Maybe. Maybe even just the first time his hand went like this, they could say, hey, he looked like he was going for that gun. I perceived a threat and I shot him, even though he didn't touch it. But then when he actually does, oh, they lit him up. They lit him up. So that was a great video. I definitely like what I saw in that. Good tactics, good angles around the vehicle. They had a canine there, but they didn't utilize it, which is fine. I wouldn't have sent my canine to go grab a guy that's got a gun right in front of me either, because by the time the dog gets there, he's grabbing the gun, he's shooting the dog. You don't want to risk that. You could have used pepper balls, 40 millimeter OC spray, whatever. Taser, I don't think would have been appropriate in this because he is wearing a very thick kind of sweatshirt, and I don't think those probes would have gone through. And so I think really the option is your ass better surrender. You're going to get shot, man. That's like where we're at here. And they did a really good job with that. And so, yeah, this is just another kind of F around and find out kind of award winner here. So don't do dumb stuff, and dumb stuff, won't hurt you. But anyway, episode 4. All right. Well, next week comes episode 5. I'm going to be gone for a couple of days doing some work, security work. And so I wanted to put this out, get this done early. It's going to go out on Friday at 9 a.m. like it always does. So you're going to be seeing this a couple days later. But yeah, good episode, good last episodes. The Preddy thing, we could probably, and I talked way too long about it. I'm almost at an hour right now. I talked way too long about it, and you really could. You could spend an hour on it talking about everything else and then start diving into Minneapolis and Minnesota state law, the city statutes, the different things with uses of force and all that. Talk about federal policies and procedures and use of force policy, all that stuff. It's a lengthy topic. I'm not going to do that on here, but I don't like the shooting. I liked this last one. It was great. Perfect. They did everything they were supposed to. I don't like the Minneapolis shooting. I didn't like either shooting, but the one with the guy getting hit by the car, clear as day, it was a threat. She struck him. He fired in response. I can't fault that. Can I fault these guys? I can't, because I don't know necessarily what information people knew at what time. I know they knew there was a gun. I know he was a perceived threat, and they tried to stop the threat. But then there was that whole disarming, the gun being removed, all that stuff is in a split second, literally less than a second. It seemed like I didn't have a counter, but from the time the guy grabs the gun, turns around to run away, and they start shooting, it was pretty quick. So I don't know. Anyway, last but not least, we're going to just plug our good old friends over at Dubby. And I am using some of that sweet little Dubby in I got a Gatorade. And so I just mixed the Dubby into the Gatorade. And now I have an actual caffeinated version of an energy drink. And this is Japanese Yuzo. It's a jitterless energy blend. And I've been drinking this for like the last 2 weeks now. 3 weeks, maybe. I plugged this in one of the early episodes, but this is good stuff. I'm actually really appreciating this stuff, and I'm going to need a new one here soon. I'm going to look at maybe a fruit punch or something. They've got a bunch of flavors, so highly encourage people if you're looking for an energy powder. They also make a liquid, but if you're looking for an energy drink powder, you might want to look up Dubby. I'll include the link with this video. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Make sure to hit up the socials. Make sure to jump on Discord. The Patreon is in full effect. We've got our cool little stickers. Some of the options here. We've got a kind of a matte sticker. We've got matte sticker, and we got a glossy sticker. We've got a 5-inch sticker. I got a hollow. I'm getting patches in now. They've been ordered, so I'm waiting on those. 3-inch patch. There's all sorts of cool stuff you're going to get as a Patreon member. So Check out Discord, because Discord is going to have all that information, all the latest photos and merch and all that stuff. That's just extra. I'm not selling that stuff right now, but if you do become a Patreon member, I'm gonna kick you back and give you some cool stuff to hang on to, and you'll obviously get access to the kind of hidden channels and different things on Discord, and be able to talk to me and possibly be on an episode in the future, which would be pretty cool. I want some fans and some people with some experience that can hop in and give their input too. And then sooner or later, we're going to get our actual LED up there. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you watching. You may or may not agree with me. That's cool. And be sure to let me know either way. That's fine. We're all entitled to our opinions. So keep sending me clips on Discord, because I'm going to keep making these videos, and keep watching for the daily episodes as they come out. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.